Hey everybody, it's Stacy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video in my Planmas series. If you are new to my channel or this is the first Planmas video that you have been watching, I am doing a video every day from December 1st to the 24th to count down till Christmas, and I'm doing a new planner spread every day. So I am trying to catch up on my planner. So I have 20 spreads left to do, as well as our weekly vlogs, and then that will take us all the way till Christmas. So we're chugging along. We are finally into fall. This week we are planning for the week of August 30th to September 5th. So finally into a new month and into fall spreads. The kit that I am using is called Fall Cabin, and I thought this would be a great kit to use because we actually went to our trip to Calgary this week. So we left the week before, and then this is the week that we are still in Calgary and then coming home. We loved our trip, and I can't wait to show you guys all the things that we did. So while I am laying down the base of the spread, I am going to answer a couple of questions that I got over on Instagram. If you guys have any more questions for me that you would like me to answer in these videos, just leave them in the comments down below. I find this is a great way to fill up this extra time, and yeah, we can just chat a little bit. So I just want to talk a little bit about the spread. I am using the Leaves foil bundle for this kit, as well as like a couple extra different boxes. And then I'm using some bottom washi from Simply Gilded, as well as all the washi in the weekend banner are from Simply Gilded as well. Okay, so one of the questions that I got asked was, does anybody help me in the shop? And the answer is no. It is just lonely old me. My mom used to come a couple times a week when she lived here to help me pack orders and to foil for me. I would bring her all of the sheets to foil, and then she would foil them, and then she'd bring them back for me to cut, and then she'd come like once or twice a week to pack all the orders. Now, because she has moved away, then that is just me doing all of it. So it is quite a bit, but honestly, I just love my shop so much. I have always contemplated hiring somebody, but I think there's just so many logistics that I would have to think about that it's not so easy. Like, there is extra things you have to think about as far as like their deductions. You have to think about like insurance, because I do have my business running out of my house, that I have to think about, like if somebody slipped on ice when they're walking into it, or just even the security of having somebody in my house. It'd have to be like someone that I knew and stuff like that. So there's just so many different factors to think about as opposed to just hiring somebody. So I've definitely thought about it, but I don't know if it's something in the very near future for me. Another question that I got was, if you could live anywhere other than Canada, where would it be? And I have been thinking about this so much since I saw this question, and I love Canada, so I don't really know where I'd want to live. I think if I could just live in like a fantasy world, I think I would like to live there instead. So I would think it would be super cool to live like in the Harry Potter world, where you could go to Hogwarts and that kind of thing. I think that would be super cool. So if I could live anywhere, I think it would be in a fantasy world like Harry Potter, because I just think there's so many different things that you could do. I just would love to learn magic. Like, I'd be super nerdy that way. I would just really like to learn all that kind of stuff. So I think that would be my choice. If I had to pick a real life place, could I live in Disney World? Because I think that'd be pretty cool. I've never been to Disney World. It is my absolute dream to go there. And we were supposed to go for our 10-year anniversary, which was in 2020. Needless to say, that did not happen. So we are waiting for when we can fly safely again and to be able to go to that place. But if I had to pick a place that was real, I would pick Disney World. But if I had to pick I could pick anything, then I'd pick a fantasy land like Harry Potter, because I just think that'd be so cool. I'm super curious to know where you guys would want to live anywhere other than Canada. Leave that in the comments down below, because this is just such an interesting question and I really liked that one. So let me know your answer in the comments down below. Okay, so we are just about done the base of this spread. I added a full box to Monday. In hindsight, I think I didn't really need it, but I just had so much written down that I thought I would have to use an extender box, but I think I could have got away without one. But I still like that I used one because I did want to include everything I included. Okay, let's start into the day-to-day. So on Monday, we went for breakfast to McDonald's. So I don't know if I mentioned in my previous plan with me, but we had gotten like a hotel where they had breakfast included, and that was like super important to us because we were trying to save costs. We brought food for like lunches and stuff like that, and we thought if we could eat at the hotel, it would just save us a little bit of money. Turns out because of the restrictions at the time where we were staying, they were not able to do anything buffet style, which totally is fine. But what they had is like this bagged lunch breakfast, and it was like a paper bag with a muffin that was kind of all squished and everything like that, an apple, and a juice box. And honestly, that was not going to cut it for us. So we decided to go out for breakfast every day, and we went to McDonald's this day, which was like the majority of the days because it was like super close to us. And then we went to the Calgary Zoo, which is something that I was so excited for, and I loved it so much. It's way better than the zoo that we have in our area, and it was just amazing. So I wrote that we went to the Calgary Zoo, and then I wrote all the different areas that they had in the zoo that we went to, because I just wanted to remember like all the different spots. So I wrote down that we went to the prehistoric park, which was like this dinosaur area, and that was like one of our favorite parts. It was just so cool. They had like these dinosaur replicas, they had some moving and some making sounds and stuff like that. But it was super cool to see. And then we went to Exploration Asia, and then to the Dorothy Harvey Garden, and this one had like a bunch of different plants in this building. And I think our kids weren't too interested, but me and my husband found it extremely interesting. They had a lot of like trees and plants that you could recognize, like different food items or different things made for medicine. And it was just super cool to see what the plants actually looked like and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that. Then we went to lunch at, I'm gonna butcher this name, so I'm just gonna say the cafe. And it kind of looked like a safari cafe. It was really cool. Just kind of had lunch there. And then we went to Destination Africa and the Canadian Wilds. And the Destination Africa was by far the coolest place to go, because for me, I love seeing like the giraffes and the zebras and the hippos. So the hippo actually was pretty lazy when we first started going there, and then my son had to use the bathroom, so I took him, and we came back. The hippo had started to move and was actually in the water, and so they had this indoor area where it looked like a giant tank, like the wall was like the giant tank, and the hippo was in it, so you could see through the glass, I guess. Anyways, the hippo came swimming over, and he went right up to my son, put his paws on the glass, did a backflip while like making this loud noise, and it was the coolest and most terrifying thing at the same time, because like this giant animal is coming at you and all there is glass in between, and he just pushed off and he did like this backflip thing. It was just so cool, and my son, just his eyes were so wide. And then when the hippo left, my son was just like, whoa, that was cool. Like just so impressed with this hippo, and I thought it was awesome. Then that day we went and got ice cream, and then they had lots of like play centers at the zoo, so we let the kids play there. And then in the evening we just kind of went back to the hotel and chilled, so I marked that we watched Survivor. On Tuesday, again, we went for breakfast to McDonald's, and then we went to the Heritage Park. So we were not sure how our kids were gonna love it, but we thought it was just a fantastic day. It is basically like this olden town where they have like all these shops and everything set up, but they don't just have like the town, they have like the mining area and the farming area, and they have the Voyager area, and it was just so cool to like walk through this whole experience. We went to the gasoline alley where they had all these like olden cars and gas pumps and all these different things, which to us is super, super cool. We got to ride on a steam train, which I've never done before. Our kids thought that was great. And then they also had like one of those boats that has like the big wheel in the water. I don't remember what those are called, but we got to go on one of those, which was really neat as well. Mark that we also got mini donuts while we were there. They had lots of like carnival rides, so we got to ride all of those. That was really cool too. And then for dinner, we went to I don't know how to say that, but we went there for dinner, and it was one of the best burgers I have ever eaten. I got this burger. They're famous for like their stuffed burgers, and the burger was stuffed with mac and cheese, and that's so cool. So we actually found this one like street down in Calgary that we think is like the foodie place of Calgary, because it had so many different different food items, and we just love that kind of thing. I'm a little bit behind, so I'll try and keep up. On Wednesday, we went for breakfast again to McDonald's, and then we just spent a lot of time in the pool, just kind of going down the water slides and swimming. And then we ended up going downhill go-karting. So this is something that I just found by like Googling things to do in Calgary, and it was one of our absolute favorite things. So basically you get taken up a chairlift on this big mountain, and then you have this go-kart that has no steering wheel. It's just kind of got this bar that you just turn left or right, and if you pull it too far forward, then it stops, and if you pull it back, then it starts again. So it doesn't really have like a motor, I guess, but it just kind of like cruises around the track, and you go all the way down the hill, and it's really cool. So we really enjoyed that. And then we ended up going to the Olive Garden for supper that night. And then we just relaxed in the hotel, and I had a rough night's sleep just because I was kind of anticipating the drive home, and I was really sad to leave. So rough night's sleep for me. On Thursday, we went and grabbed Tim Hortons for breakfast, and then we started on the drive home. So sad to leave the mountains. It was very bittersweet. And then on the way home, we stopped at Subway for lunch. We only made it halfway because we just decided to cut the trip. It's just easier for our kids to not have to go that huge long distance. We could have done it like ourselves, but with the kids, it's just easier to like give them a break. So we ended up stopping in Regina and checked into a hotel there. And then they had a Western pizza close by. Never had that one before either, but that was really good. And then we just hung out in the pool for the evening, and our kids finally did the water slides this day. We have been asking them to do water slides like all week, and they just did not really feel comfortable doing it. But this one was like a super long one that had a long stretch at the bottom, so they didn't get dunked into a pool. They just kind of got let out into this very shallow water. You know those kind of pools where like the long ending? So they felt more comfortable with that. So they went on that water slide like constantly. Then Friday we had breakfast at the hotel, and then we kept driving home. We got home like mid-afternoon, I would say. And then I decided to go and pick up our dog Toby right away. He was at the kennel while we were gone, so I had to go and pick him up. And then when I got back, then we unpacked the car, got everything out of there so that we could clean it all up. We were extremely exhausted by the time we got back, and I was not in the mood to cook, so we actually just went to McDonald's for supper this day just because we were just so exhausted, and honestly, like, I just didn't know what to make. Then I just spent the evening like pulling stickers, and we watched Survivor, and we all just kind of like did our own thing and just chilled because we were just so tired, and it was just nice to be home. On Saturday, we actually made a breakfast for like our own family, just like eggs and bacon breakfast. But we actually got to use my husband's homemade bacon. So before we left, he had made this bacon. He had taken like the meat, I guess, and mixed it, like curated it and did all this stuff. And then he had to smoke it. It was like a couple week long process. And then he sliced it up super thin and he made his own bacon. So we got to try that for the first time, and that was really, really good. So had to mark that. And then we drove to the city. So we decided to keep going on our little vacation and just keep going on the activities. So we drove to the city and we ended up test driving a car this day. We really, really liked that type of car, but that particular one was just not the right one for us. We still are looking for a car, but it's just really hard to find right now. Just they're very few and far between at the moment. So we're just gonna, wait for when the one that we want comes available. We are in no rush, so just always looking. And then we went to Grand Prix Racing, which is like racing go-karts. And this place actually has the go-karts that can go up to 50 kilometers an hour. So you have to have a driver's license to go on some of them. And then they do have kids ones and slower ones as well that kids can go on. And it was super fun. Our kids actually got to ride their own go-kart on like a certain track. And then they could go with us on the medium speed ones, I guess. Then we went to Famous Dave's for dinner. We actually went and took it to the park and ate it as a whole family, and we were with like Jake's whole family. So we had Famous Dave's with them. And that was very, very, very good. That's our favorite restaurant. We always have to go there when we go to the city. And then I marked that we watched Survivor once we got home. On Sunday, I decided to do a little bit of work this day, probably just getting ready for Monday. And honestly, I like working, so when I've been gone for so long, sometimes I just want to get back to it. And then I was planning out my monthly spreads. So I like to do my monthly spreads like a different event every day that happened. So I like to write down all the things that happened and then pull those stickers. So I was planning all of those out. And then I was watching Only Murders in the Building. You guys, that show is amazing. If you watch it, let me know in the comments down below because I am obsessed with that show. I so hope there's a second season because it's awesome. And then we went for a walk with the dog. So I marked walking Toby. And then we had Dairy Queen for lunch. I think my husband was gone this afternoon. I think he went to go and see my nephew race or something like that. So I got Dairy Queen with the kids, and I marked that I was listening to a podcast most of the day, and then we watched Survivor in the evening. So all in all, this trip was incredible. I would go back in a heartbeat. I loved every second of it, and it was so nice. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next one. Bye!